Hi, John.
John. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for attending the City of Uniontown regular City Council meeting, June 1st, 2023 at 5 o'clock p.m. Roll call.
Mr. Billy?
Here.
Mr. Wasaki?
Here.
Mr. Winfrey?
Here.
Mr. Shuhon?
Here.
Mayor Gurke?
Here. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
An executive session was held at 4:30 p.m. for legal matters. Comments on agenda items only.
Good evening, everyone. The first thing is number 133. It's to authorize the repair of the excavator that's on the compost site. It is an aging machine and it's a large machine, so repairs aren't cheap. The machine lives on that site now. It's the one we used to use to tear down houses, but it makes the site run more efficient and it gets the job done down there. The second one is number 134, and that is the actual grinding machine on the compost site, and that is just some normal wear and tear items that need to be replaced.
Is that 853 part or
The 853 is to be split.
three split?
The cost of the excavator lives on that site now, but it was never shared in the past with South Union, so.
Or that's just the basic split?
Correct.
All right, so then 853 or portion we have that on that.
Correct. Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments on agenda items only?
Thank you.
So this would be for Uniontown movies in Bailey Park Friday nights, beginning July 7th, running through September 1st, except for the Fayette County Fair days. I have so much support through the community. I got names. I have the fire department. I didn't get to reach out to the police department yet. I have the Head Start, CTI reaching out to me, LBI, you name it, people are reaching out. I'm booked. I have insurance is called. I did that already. I did, sorry, my allergies. I did, I have Worldwide Eats is coming in. They're the only ones coming in from out of Uniontown. Everybody else is Uniontown. But I thought this is an African-American owned brand new food vending company. I thought that would be really good. They were asked for by my customers, so I booked them if this goes through. I have movies listed, and then whatever else advice you guys would have if this goes through. I really will need sponsors from the community, just more advice. But I've done a lot of research, a lot of homework, a lot of footwork, talking to people, and I found actually 2 more Uniontown food vendors that are going to be opening up. There's Puerto Rican on Wheels, they're representing Uniontown, And then we have Red Eye Barbecue will be coming out, I think, next month, and they're also representing Uniontown. So I have them booked as well. So that's it. Thank you. I appreciate everybody.
I went to one of these when they did this in Congo years ago.
So I have, this is only one of the ideas to open Uniontown nightlife back up. If this does pass, I have some other ideas to get Uniontown to kind of do like an art wine walk. We do it once a month, maybe try to get our nightlife back. Everybody's like, oh, we don't want to go because 7 o'clock everything's closed. There's nothing really to do. There's just a bar. Yeah, there is just a bar. Like, there is. Let's try to do something else, though. Like, I really think we can do it. You guys have a really cute place. I know I'm new, but you guys have a really cute place here to do stuff with. Like, there's stuff, and I have a lot more ideas to follow this one. So.
How would you show the movie?
So my sister actually works for a lighting production company that did the presidential lighting inauguration, and they're everywhere. They're actually out of Philadelphia. She's gonna let me know if I can borrow a screen or projector, but like I said, CTI has reached out. I'm making sponsorship papers now to just, I know somebody was supposed to get back to me with like the development of Uniontown. They're not really doing anything, but they're doing stuff. Like, people are telling me they're doing stuff, so I would really like to get a hold of them, talk to them, because there's some other stuff that I would like to, like I said, to do in the community. I have some other like pageant queens that would like to volunteer their time to. Who else? Oh, I have booked a couple local dance troupes to come out to do openings for the movie. So we start at 5 o'clock. Food starts at 5 o'clock. Just like over at the Brownsville Theater, we do movies 5 o'clock. We wrap up food by 9 o'clock because, you know, we want to clean up the park after. And I do have volunteers from One Voice, One Community. They're going to lend me their pick workers to do cleanup and to, you know, and I have other support from different vendors who said that they would just come out and walk around for safety, whatever, you know, just whatever they would need to do to help this get passed. And I definitely could have a ton more signatures. If y'all gave me a whole month, I would have a couple thousand, but probably not needed. But yeah, I hope this is passed. I really thank you guys for helping me, Mayorville. I really thank you for, yeah, that park wasn't right, but maybe this one is. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for your concern for the city. Any other comments on agenda items only?
Who submitted this proposal, this resolution?
Mayor signed it.
And was seconded by?
Joe?
Me.
Thank you.
If there's no other comments, I just have a few words to say. I'd like to give a brief state of the U, as I like to call it. Ongoing activities in the city are highlighted by the Uniontown's Farmers and Producers Market happening every Saturday at Bailey Park from now until September 9th. It runs from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We had a nice crowd for our first outing this past Saturday. A lot of people in and out. Come on down and get around and see your neighbors and friends and check out what's going on there. It's going to grow, and I'd like to thank Mark John for all the time that he put into this, along with many other things, but he really put a lot of time into this. So, Mr. John, thank you so much. We're pleased to announce the opening of the 2 city parks for summer at Grant Street and Bailey Park. We'll have summer programs and activities for all the kids in the city. The Grant Street Basketball League, as everyone knows, is the marquee for the Parks and the Recreation program. Together with the Herald Standard, we're preparing for a weekend-long Founders Day celebration kicked off by the annual 5K firecracker race on Saturday, July the 1st. And I'm very excited about the renewal of the Uniontown Italian Festival hosted by the Sons of Italy. Thanks to all those guys for putting this together. And it will take place right here in downtown Uniontown at the middle of August. I don't have the exact dates right here. But we're working on, and another point that I'd like to bring up, we're working on creative ways to complete the new section of the Sheepskin Trail, which runs from Fayette Street to Beeson Boulevard. The tracks and rails are removed, and we're ready to lay pavement. Thanks again to John and his crew for everything that they do. I don't know how they get everything into a day's work, but they're everywhere and getting things done. Thanks, John, for all the work and cooperation that you give the city. Anyone that wants to get involved with our movement, please reach out and get involved. I urge you to be the difference that you want to see. Help us to identify the problems, and by identifying the problems, I'd like you to be the solution also. That's about all I have, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to receive the report of the treasurer for the month of May 2023. Did I skip one? Is hereby received and filed. Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to accept the minutes of the May 4, 2023 regular council meeting, be and the same is hereby accepted and filed. Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown, council hereby directs the Director of Accounts and Finance to make payment of the following invoices for services rendered or products procured for the City of Uniontown, May 2023 invoices in the General Fund, $108,810.03, Sewer Fund, $23,518.37, Recreation, $7,984.22, Highway, $5,509.51, Off-Street, $2,295.72, Recycling, $2,685.73, Library, $41,528.11. Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to adopt Bill Number 1769, proposed ordinance Number 1749, an ordinance of the City of Uniontown, Fayette County, Pennsylvania, authorizing the acceptance of cash payments for parking fees and charges owed to or received by the city and implementing required procedures for the handling thereof. Mr. Shuhon?
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, absolutely. So, Councilman Billy had just asked me to comment on that, so everybody's familiar with what was for consideration by council. This is an ordinance that was previously introduced and advertised, so it's properly before council for adoption tonight. You'll recall previously at the beginning of the year, council had approved an ordinance that did not allow the city to accept cash deposits. That was done specifically to ensure that taxpayer and city funds were protected and could be monitored. Obviously, that created a practical difficulty with respect to how cash funds would be handled with respect to parking meters and other parking receipts. What this ordinance does is it creates a very narrow exception that allows the city to accept cash for parking funds. But also what this does is it implements a very strict procedure for how those cash deposits would be received and accounted for and deposited. So for example, one of the very first things that's required, any cash that's taken in, there has to be more than one city representative going to receive that cash. So they all certify jointly what that cash is for to the city offices. And then that has to be tracked through the system from initial receipt to deposit in the city's account. So the purpose of this ordinance is to address that concern and make sure that those protections are in place.
Thank you.
Yep.
And that was just parking fees only.
Parking fees only. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I vote yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to accept the proposal from Granick Corporation for parts and installation and repairs of air conditioning for second floor unit at City Hall in the amount of $5,889.10. Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
You need air conditioning up there, right, Crystal?
Sure.
Okay.
That's a godsend.
Okay.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown in relation to Resolution Number 8 of 2023 of the City of Uniontown taking further actions and requiring and implementing various additional requirements and safeguards to address losses of city funds and to protect city funds in the office of the city treasurer. The City Council hereby makes a second request that Antoinette Hodge immediately resign from the office of city treasurer by submitting a written resignation to the city. Mr. Vasaki?
Tim, real quick, I wanted to ask you, we've adopted several ordinances requiring the deposits be made regular basis. Have they been followed up to this point?
Yeah, I actually can't speak to that. I don't know recently. I haven't looked to monitor whether or not they have been followed in terms of being deposited on a regular basis. So unfortunately, I'm not able to answer that specific
I
question.
gotcha. Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
No.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to authorize the city clerk to advertise for a request for proposal for investment services for the City of Uniontown fire and police pension plans maintained by the city. Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to authorize a city-sponsored Firecracker 5K Run Walk in the City of Uniontown on city streets on Saturday, July 1st, 2023. Proceeds from this event will be dedicated to the Marshall Park renovation project with a $200 pledge to the National Honor Society in exchange for their assistance with race-related activity. Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to enter into an agreement between the City of Uniontown and sponsor Ashley Neptune, authorizing her and other vendors and volunteers to host a community night event called Uniontown Movies in Bailey Park along the Sheepskin Trail on Fridays beginning July 7th through September 1st, 2023, and to approve the movie selection as provided on proposal attached hereto. Mr. Billy?
So, Councilman Billy also asked me to address that. So this is kind of a standard request for, we've had many requests for parks to be used and city streets and whatnot. So we do have a standard agreement that we use for those events. So we would have to just prepare that, modify that for these specific events. And then I believe it was indicated you guys already have your insurance already getting it in place. So you'll also need to, before the first event, make sure that we get a copy of the certificate, just so that the city's protected as well. So, right. So very common. Like I said, the city has gotten similar requests before, but that would be the normal process, and that's what council's being asked to approve, is entering into that agreement that enables them to use the park for that purpose.
So I think with this time, with this, I think now it's the time to address, take another look at our peddler fees and the fees that we charge vendors. There's too many times here in this past year, last year and this, that we have talked about waiving fees, whether we have waived fees or we haven't. So I think now is the time that we go forward in addressing this issue, and either we are going to waive the fees or not. Are we going to target certain areas where we're going to, and I think we touched base last month on this, are we going to target areas and designate areas where we're going to use that solely for that? Or are we going to open up, the entire city for vendors, or are we just going to be choice events? I think that's a big thing. And then that gets into Story Square, where we need to, and another thing, if we're gonna start waiving vendor fees. So we waive vendor fees, I think that on that should, at that moment should be allowed because of the redevelopment authority in Story Square. I think that should be something that is able for that authority to capture as a fee to generate revenue, to also put back into their programs.
So every vendor that I have, except for the one that is coming from Washington County, has already paid me counties. So I made sure, we are, like I said, we are Uniontown, we've already paid our fees.
Yeah.
So, that there's nobody that hasn't, I've talked to every single one, I've had them come in and talk to, I had Julie come in here, Mark's come in here and talk to make sure we're all paid. So on our end, we're paying. So it's not really waiving it, this is just what we're trying to add something. This is.
So I think that, and whether this discussion right now
And I know you guys
is
said
leaning
it's hard.
for or against. So my thing is this, so now we're in a point where we're creating revenue under a city entity. And if we're gonna waive a fee, and so that's where it gets into is that,
This doesn't say anything
revenue
about a
that's
fee.
created in the parks need to go back to Parks and Recs. So that's where my
Doesn't
stance
talk
is
about
on that,
waiving.
and that's even before whether I'm leaning either way for it.
Right.
It's nothing against that, it's solely on the fact that, we're going to waive this for these days going forward for profit.
It's only $22, right?
I'm sorry?
The Heather.
It's
For
minimal.
one day, it's 22.
Correct, it's minimal.
Okay, so,
You're the $100 fee for park usage.
I would pay $44.
To use the park.
So really, nobody in this event has a legal. So I get you for other events, because I really have a hard time. Ed is a friend of mine from Potterville Sons, and I'm friends with people from Only Police, but who are they paying taxes to? Why are they here taking my spots? I don't know. And they say that they're like looked over by the state, but like who is tracking where they're coming? So I completely, I'm on
And
that.
yes,
With you about vendors coming in, I totally am on that.
And this is
How
something
do we
that's-
figure out how to make money.
And this also is something that we're getting more people drum up interest on this. So it's another area where our code enforcement and it's going to be enforcing ordinances. So we're going to start, looking at more of that.
But this doesn't have anything about fees unless I'm missing something. I'm just trying to figure out.
So it's,
Yeah,
I think
know
it,
nothing about fees because I'm trying to get sponsorships enough to figure it out and then work with you guys on maybe, because this is for the city, so maybe give us a little bit of a discount, but not full, but like something, like let's come up with something so people don't feel like we're set up or whatever, but I feel as now that I've got a couple people under us and as president of Uniontown Vendors Association, I feel like we are tourism for the town.
So
We're going to bring
I just want you to understand on this, that this conversation has it has nothing to, on my opinion on how I'm gonna vote tonight, but I'm talking about going forward and moving forward. So that the conversation right now is for, I'd like to discuss this in the future. So we're not going back and forth. I'm good, thank you.
We can put in the agreement that the vendors are liable for their fee.
I don't have an issue with what is presented tonight. The issue is moving forward, and there's talk of waiving vendor fees and going back and forth, and I want to visit the peddler's fee,
Right.
and I want to update that, and I think that policy in order needs to be taken care of.
If we do have out of towners, that would be something I would go on. Like there's some ideas I also agree.
You want to be consistent across the board is what you're saying. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm good, I'm ready, yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
these vendors, I just wanted to say, don't pay, first of all, a vendor or peddler's fee. They pay $100 a year business license fee to be able to be in the city. The only fee that could possibly be considered waiving in this agreement that you spoke of, Tim, would be the $100 park usage fee, plus the insurance. I mean, and they have that, and they have their business license, but,
But that's not
So-
even in this, though, right?
So
well,
our
it would be
standard-
according to that agreement that we have,
Okay.
that has a $100 a day usage fee for all of our parks.
Right. So our standard agreement that we have is that any vendors would be responsible for their own paying any peddler's fee or licensing fee or anything with the city. So that's covered. I think, you guys and all the vendors there, sounds like have already registered and are licensed. The other one, like, is what the city clerk's talking about, the $100 fee. That would be the only piece that I think council would have to determine whether or not it was waiving that fee or
And not at this time, though.
You don't have to do that immediately now, so.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
I agreed with what you were saying about bringing more into the city, especially in evenings and things. I've been to these things before in different towns, and they were a lot of fun. So I would love to see a lot more things come through. So, yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy? I'm sorry, Mayor Gurke?
Yes, and thank you, Ashley, for stepping forward and getting this off the ground. Thank you very much.
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to authorize the purchase of parts for the city's excavator for the use at the compost site from Best Line Equipment at a cost of $5,626. Mr. Vasaki?
This is something, Johnny already said, we have to have it to keep this running. On a second note to this, we need to consider in the future, not right now, but in the future, that machine is on its last leg, and this is what we're gonna be doing every couple of months. Just throwing that out there for everyone, just food for thought, and, and for the next upcoming couple of years. But for this purchase, yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
No.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes,
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to authorize the purchase of parts for the city's beast for use at the compost site from Stevenson Equipment at a cost of $853.74. Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
No.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
yes,
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to authorize the purchase of body and dash cameras for use in the Uniontown Police Department from Motorola Solutions at a cost of $79,410, and to authorize the purchase of desktop computers also for use in the Uniontown Police Department from Hoff Consulting at a cost of $15,125, and to authorize advertising for laptop computers for the police department. All purchases will be funded through the PCCD grant award. Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
yes,
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to accept the resignation of Angela Braun from the UDBDA Board and to appoint Christina Agostini to fill the unexpired 5-year term to expire December 31, 2027. Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
yes,
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to hire Jameer Braxton and Lisa Coffey as part-time seasonal employees for the Parks and Recreation Department effective June 12, 2023, for up to 24 hours per week. Salaries are as follows. Jameer Braxton, $8 per hour. Lisa Coffey, day assistance, $12 per hour. Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes, these people will be assisting Mr. Gladman with running the basketball and the parks. Yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
yes,
Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown to authorize the Uniontown Fire Department to apply for the Pennsylvania Act 104 of 2022 grant through the Pennsylvania State Fire Commissioner's Office for facility repairs or upgrades to fire stations, and to authorize seeking quotes for labor and materials for projects that may qualify under the scope of the grant. The range of funds is from $25,000 to $100,000 with no match to the city. Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Time for the monthly reports. Ms. Simmons, Redevelopment Authority.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you need room? You can have mine. It's more important you have it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Noted. I need to bring one extra. And I just wanted to thank you for putting attention on the air conditioner. I appreciate that. I'm in the seventh circle. So in your packet, I've given, or your pages here, I've given you the standard quick glance review sheet. We've been having our CDBG status meetings again with Jared, Matt, the mayor, and Kim. We met on May 11th and May 25th and worked through some of these revisions and project vetting. Your quick glance sheet is updated from the last conversations that we've had. The state did approve a revision of 2019, which you approved to submit last month. That revision allowed us to reduce the amount of money we were using for demo and move it over to Lemon Street project in order to use that funding quicker because it was expiring and because we had environmental reviews that needed done and we weren't going to have those done in time to use the funding that was there. So this was just a good way to continue using it. It now will cover signs for Lemon Street Park, a pavilion, and trash cans. The building demolition, however, will still continue. The environmental reviews are underway. We anticipate doing around 4 structures. And we're working with Frederick to develop a partnership there where he can have some of the time that he's pretty much already investing in reviewing these structures for code enforcement, that he could submit his hours and we could pay his hours through what we call delivery costs, which comes straight out of the demolition grant. So we would, we're working together. He can do an extra sheet while he's at the site or coordinate site visits. And he's kind of, it really overlaps, so it should work nicely. Once those reviews are complete, they'll be presented to the board, they'll be approved, and then that tier 2 will allow us to demolish a few homes. That is coming out of a few years of funding in the future. The 2020 CV project, the state allowed the contract to be amended, so we are safe to say that we have more time to spend that funding. We just made a substantial payment, started a payment request for the actual park equipment that was at the park. So that funding's getting spent and it's going as planned. The other updates on your quick glance sheet is 2023 funding. Today, the CDBG allocation memo came out. The city will receive $311,565 for the 2023 allocation. 18% will be used for administration, which is $56,081, and the actual project cost would be $255,484. This year, we've been vetting projects through our group, and we could hope that we'll submit a larger project, a more substantial project per DCED's wishes and guidance. It'll help us stand up and bring a lot of our projects in compliance. We'll be managing one project instead of 4 projects. But we can always break them apart in the future once we're able to do that. So that's the update on the quick glance. Part of the 2023 process, we'll hold our first hearing and a modification hearing. That has been delayed because I'm going to hold them together to save administration dollars so I don't have to pay for advertising twice. So at least one of the modification hearings will be held together. I'm listed here. I'm getting in touch and actually met Brian today with WMPBS to advertise that meeting, and am updating the Facebook page for the Redevelopment Authority to get that meeting advertised there. The modification is $50,000 from 2020. That's for the pavilion. I'll also point out on the agenda that you have, the Redevelopment Authority restructured, and this is our new logo and new letterhead, and we just kind of a fresh look at the Redevelopment Authority, and so that's what it looks like now. The expiring funds, again, our pavilion project's going fine, so that's being used. A few of the projects that we talked about last month was Lincoln View Park. The Redevelopment Authority took a closer look at that park and decided that based on a contractor's estimate to rehab the park to something more presentable was affordable for the funds that we had available from selling properties and things, and it fits our mission. So we'll be removing some of the asphalt there and having further conversations to possibly lease that property to that same contractor to hopefully make it a frequented site, so it takes to be more secure, to kind of have a body there. They're coming and going, so that's great news. Lincoln View, we'll meet about that at our next board meeting. Beeson sidewalks and roadways, the city, the CDBG work group, we've been kind of running a few other conversations through there as well. The Beeson work group I put together and was we all were on board to have Jared Billy, Mark John, Mayor Gerke, Matt George, John Podolinsky, and Steve Visaki. So, I hadn't said the last name. So I think I actually have got a hold of everybody except you, Steve. So I'll be emailing everybody work group email to set up some conversations. It might be a bi-weekly meeting right at first. It might be a phone call just to get an idea of the future of Beeson, sources and uses, and just all of the projects that are going on at that intersection, but along Beeson, putting that kind of together. Same thing goes for the sewer rehabilitation. John, Steve, Jared, and Mayor Gerke is part of that group. So we'll get on a phone call and start discussing potential CDBG competitive applications, PA small water applications, areas where we could assist to make that, make an application, because it helps us too, because we can get administration dollars, and I'm aware that there's some need there. The other project is Grant Street ADA accessible bathrooms. K2 Engineering is taking a look at that right now, and we hope to be able to use the CDBG funding that are expiring and improve the bathrooms there. The procurement of engineering services, we intend to solicit services for the CDBG program specifically. This sets us up for a 3-year agreement to use the same engineer and be in compliance with the state. So we'll be putting those out, and engineers will respond. That'll just set us up with a more organized approach of what projects our engineers working on and the cost of each one of those projects. So I just wanted that on there, so if you saw that we were like soliciting services, that's all part of the plan. We're working together with everyone to do that. The project inventory is ongoing. If you have specific sewage projects, street projects, any projects, email them to me and I'll put them on the list, so then when we want to lobby for our projects with the state senate or where we're at, then we're familiar with that and we can push those projects. Summer concert series starts June 8th, ends August 24th, and except for July 6th. There's a vendor for every night, a food vendor locked in for every night, and there's a band locked in for every night. So I'm kind of learning the ropes there to make sure that goes well. Andrea pretty much is the backbone of all that, so she does a really good job with it. Downtown Uniontown Business District Partnership, local share account funding is available, and that's being reviewed in how we can utilize those funds as match for strategic management plan, which hopefully you'll hear more of. and 2 stragglers. The Municipal Assistance Planning Grant is in my office, and I will be handling the grant administration for that grant. That grant covers the comprehensive plan. So we'll be doing payment requests to get the city reimbursed for the funding that they've used to date. And also the blight remediation plan is in my office. And I say it that way because those 2 grants are actually the city's grants. They were written on behalf of the city. I think that writing grants in the future, we need to take a closer look at cooperation agreements, supplemental cooperation agreements, just to outline whose responsibilities are whose, so things can stay in place, just in case, you know, someone's not here and we don't know what's happening. And I think that's everything, unless there's questions. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons.
Thank you, Chris.
Uniontown Fire Department, Chief Quan.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Always start out with a breakdown of our incidents for the previous month. Uniontown Fire Department responded on the following incidents for the month of May 2023. We had 9 fire-related incidents, which included 1 cooking fire confined to the kitchen cabinets and the stovetop. We had 1 scorch burn, which was within a building. No active fire resulted, fortunately, so another close call, but dodged the bullet, though. 1 trash fire, 1 dumpster fire, 4 vegetation fires, and 1 fireworks explosion. We had 27 rescue-related incidents, with 20 of these being motor vehicle collisions, 4 removals of an ill or injured person from a building, 1 elevator rescue, and 1 collapse below-grade rescue. We had a stairwell collapse into the sublevel of a building and had to get a victim out. And we had 1 animal rescue. Had just 2 hazardous conditions incidents. This month's was 1 gas leak and 1 electrical emergency. 13 service-related incidents. These included 7 lockouts or gaining access, mostly for EMS crews. 2 persons in distress incidents. 1 cover assignment for another fire company who was out on an incident. 1 assisting the police department, and 2 general public service incidents. We ran 15 fire alarm activations. We witnessed 2 fire drills in a public facility, and as I always say, that includes facility staff training, familiarization with the building, and pre-planning. So we try to make the most out of details like that. And we conducted 2 public fire education programs. As well, always like to talk about the training that we conducted or had taken for the month. Again, pretty good numbers this month as well. We had over 200 man hours. I didn't really get the final figure on that one. I apologize. I believe it's a little more than 200, but we had at least 200 man hours of training taken or conducted for May. Always like to highlight on some of the special training that was taken. We had 2 members finish training and testing for vehicle rescue technician, and 1 for their professional qualifications board certification as a firefighter. They are awaiting their results, but I am sure that they did excellent, and I'm sure that they all passed, though. We also had 1 of our paid staff complete his fire service instructor pro board certification, and that was John Rulai. So I'd like to give them a congratulations, as well as the folks that completed the vehicle rescue and all the other special training that we conducted as well. Move on to apparatus and equipment updates. Our engine 2, we did have an issue that was repaired, and it is covered under warranty. The warranty claim is in, and we'll be seeking reimbursement for that. The pump testing, the annual pump testing and maintenance that is required, again, by our industry standards, was completed in the month of May. All went well, however, they did find an issue that they had to repair, so we kind of had to scramble to get approvals for that. They are reviewing that, and hopefully that's going to be a warranty claim as well, too. So we probably pretty well should be getting reimbursed for everything, so that's a good thing. As far as some miscellaneous items, regarding the Act 104 grant through the Office of the State Fire Commissioner, we're going to need to work with City Hall on that one. we're basically going to need use of the Commonwealth vendor number and a Keystone ID to start the application, so it should be pretty quick and painless. As they stated, reading the resolutions off, this is for repairs and upgrades for our fire stations, and this is available for municipal full-time departments like we have. So yeah, we have a number of needs for this. We have a pretty long laundry list of stuff that needs upgraded or repaired, and we could stand to receive up to $100,000. So fingers crossed. Hopefully we get it. And it's free and clear money too. So that's the best part out of all of it too. So we're going to try. We are going to try. As say always, our personnel still continue to be involved a lot in the community. It's nice now with the weather breaking. You know, in the summer you're going to see us out a lot more often with that too. So, and then finally, everyone knows what tonight is, so doesn't need to go any further, right? 6:45 at the hall. That's about all I have, really. Bingo. That's it.
Chief,
any questions? Yes, sir.
I do have a question. On the stairway collapse into the subbase substructure.
Yes.
Do we know if that was owner occupied or is this a rental?
It was a rental. It was an apartment building, and everything's moving forward to get that problem rectified and taken care of. Everything went really well. The building owner, from what I understand, responded right away, and so they're taking care of things.
Good. Hey,
So,
thank you.
Yep, no problem. We'll see y'all later. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you. Yep.
Police Department, Chief DeWitt.
Mayor, Council, good evening, everyone. I'll start by thanking you guys for the votes on the purchasing the body cams. This is, we'll call this phase 2 of this grant project that we're currently in. This would be the acquisition phase. What the general public doesn't get to see is on, what was it, Tuesday, Tim and Kim? On the phone until 5, 6 o'clock at night, playing phone tag with 3 parties and vendors trying to get sole source letters out for the body cam purchases so we weren't pushed for a higher bill and less equipment. This grant is something that you guys started working on with me, what was that, October of last year? It's finally come to fruition. We're going to actually, these technology purchases are going to push our police department and the city years ahead of most other departments, if not all departments in this county. We're actually going to kind of get brought up on par with the state police, but we'll have body cams, which they won't have, which is going to probably lower our liability insurance to a degree too. That'll be the next approach we make once we get these in play, is talking to our insurance companies about lowering our rates. So during the, again, thank you for that. And there'll be more purchases that come on this. This is free and clear money as well. So any free money we can get, we're going to keep chasing. So during the month of April, the Uniontown Police Department responded to 868 calls for service. The breakdown of some of those calls included 19 vehicle accidents, 4 assaults, 30 welfare checks, 28 domestics, 5 assist fire calls, 14 disorderly conducts, 19 emergency medical assists, 22 assist other police departments, including canine deployments to assist them for narcotic searches on cars, 17 harassments, 5 shots fired, again a big number compared to where we were this time last year and the year prior to that, 35 alarms, 78 suspicious persons, activities, vehicles, 27 thefts, 4 overdoses, 1 of which had a Narcan administered by a police officer, and 23 animal complaints. Officers made a total of 40 criminal arrests, issued 10 non-traffic citations, and 41 traffic citations. We also conducted foot and vehicle patrols of city parks as well as Sheepskin Trail. And we're also ramping up patrols of our parking garages, which we know we're getting some vagrants in there and people using illicit narcotics and alcohol, which is a continuing problem that we're going to have to keep addressing across the city, even in our city parks during the day. Something we're probably going to have to get with council and look at ordinances and stuff that can be passed to try and curb some of that, whether it be signage for no loitering, to give us some more teeth for actionable moves rather than just going up and telling someone to leave. It might actually curb the problem before it happens. That's the hope. But we'll touch base on that down the road. During the month of May, code enforcement, it's grass season. Freddie's extremely busy. He's working closely with redevelopment, as you heard earlier. He closed 32 cases, opened 52 new cases, and is carrying 15 cases over from the month of May. PCCD, again, has finalized the grant, which is applied for late last year. The Uniontown City Police Department will now begin purchasing items with the grant award. The equipment lead time varies from each manufacturer. So in its current it's currently projected by the end of 2023, we'll have a fully functional body cam program in place. Also in that grant, there's 4 dash cams that puts some in backstock and puts dash cams in cars that we don't currently have. I can tell you that the officers for years have been wanting body cams for our protection and to change the interactions we're having with citizens. They're happy that they're coming. I'm happy that they're coming. So additionally, we'll be refreshing all of our in-station computer systems and in-car computers by the end of 2023 with this grant. One of the things that I had talked to Kim about and many of the council members is we have computers. It's recommended we change our computers out every 2 to 3 years. Our computers aren't in horrible state, but it's free money, we might as well update them. I'm going to talk to our IT guy, Dan, about wiping our current computers in their complete state so we can give those computers out to different departments within the city so they have newer computers to work with, so we have a little bit more seamless communication between, and the departments can function a little bit smoother. That's my hope. So, again, council, any questions? No? Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Director of Public Works, John?
Hello, everyone again. First off, I'd just like to thank everyone that approved my purchases there. As Steve said, it is a aging machine, but it's been a good machine. If you looked over the past 5 to 10 years, we've not had any significant repair costs on it. And it is aging, so we should start the process of looking into ways of funding a replacement for it through grants or what need be to do that. The compost site is a demanding site itself. Between myself and 2 other sewage department guys, keeping up with the compost site and the maintenance of the beast, the grinder, it's a lot, but we're doing our best to keep up with everything and get all of our tasks completed. Regarding the sewage, the total monthly collections for bills this month was $194,914.87, bringing this year-to-date collections to $1,006,904.88. I know the ladies in the office are always glad when they break $1 million. It's like a mile marker for them. They both work very hard in that office. Well, not both of them now, Breeze and now. So they all work very hard in that office. As the mayor said, we are on our ways to completing that next part of the Sheepskin Trail. We have very little rail left to pull up. Then we can start the process of grading and get the paving done for it to get that portion of it done.
And that'll take us to Beeson.
It'll just take us right to Beastman Boulevard, yep. So as Mr. John and the mayor have always said, everybody stopped at South Union Line and turned around, and if you do go down there and watch, they do walk into the city now and sometimes branch off into the city, or they do turn around at the city, but the further they get into the city, the better it is.
Any new applicants?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Still hiring.
Yep, we are still hiring, looking for help. Anybody interested can come down to City Hall and apply.
Please.
Tell them they must have a CDL.
Yeah, you do have to have a Class B CDL to apply for a full-time position, but I believe we can hire part-time. We're looking for part-time help or any-time help, so. Yeah. Yep, thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Time for public comment now. Do we have any public comment? Take the podium and state your name and your address, please.
Back to round 2, round 3. Everybody knows me in town. I'm Calvin Winfrey. I live on Maple Street, 47 Maple Street, on the corner of Maple and South Galveston Avenue Extension. This is my house, and there's a couple other nice houses up there. Well, we got this. I'm going to read this so I get my 2 minutes in. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Calvin Winfrey. My wife and I live at 47 Maple Street, Uniontown, PA. Everyone say that Galveston Avenue is bad. We never had a problem with them. They walk down the street, they all say hello, you have a nice place. Our problem is the empty lot across the street. It turned into a stocking pile for sand, dust, sandy rock, and blacktop. I don't mind the blacktop because there's no sand and it don't blow. The lot now looks like a miniature stone quarry. First it was the gas company, then the water company, then another contractor for paving. Now the Columbia Gas is back in there now this week, installing gas lines behind the church. No one has respect for us that live across the street. The dust is blowing inside our windows. We have dust on our tables inside, the window sills, plus the whole front of our house looks like we will have to pressure wash it again, which I already did it once. I talked to one of the workers on the job and explained what's going on with this dust blowing over there. I said I would like to talk to your boss, but he never came over to fix the problem. You need to move their stockpile somewhere else or cover it up with tarps or just leave it in their dump trucks, which they could leave it in their dump trucks and as they go along they can dump it out and go back to wherever they got it and get more. And they can use it as they need to. Or put up an 8-foot fence around the lot to keep everything from dust blowing out. I pay over $4,000 in taxes a year for to have to live like this. I shouldn't have to. And it's a shame because other people are complaining about it too. And it's mainly my wife. She's on me, and then I gotta do all the talking. You can see these stockpiles. They piled some more up today. I don't know if you've ever been at a stone quarry. When you ride up there and your car gets all dusty, the wind blowing, it's all blowing all over. That's what it does up there on the street. And then when the wind blows, all that sand is just going. The wind blows towards my house all the time. And when the wind blows, it goes all on the front of our porch. If we got our windows up, I got air conditioning, but I shouldn't have to put my air conditioner on. And then you look on our tables inside, it's dusty from the dust. I mean, it's stockpiles. They should at least cover it up with tarp. This has been going on every time. I know they're supposed to build something over there, but they're using it for a stockpile for installing these water lines, gas lines. And we're just getting tired of it. Don't make sense. Something has to be done. Yeah. Hey, you go up there now on top of the street, you see a big pile there. And when the wind blows, you sit on the porch, and when that wind blows, or a car goes through the parking lot, there goes that dust, and it comes right over towards us. And we shouldn't have to live like this.
Hey, Calvin, I agree with you. And we went through this before. Previously, the redevelopment authority, it was a property owned by the redevelopment authority. We were assured that that was going to be taken care of. We then still had issues. And so that area, and you're right, you touched base on it, that area is part of a bigger project that's in plan with Community Action. So now Community Action is in it, so we could probably reach out to them, make sure that they have any agreements to see if we can make any leeway there. And you're right, there is going to be some construction going on in that area because right there, those lots right there, and then a couple down the street, and also on Whiteman Avenue as well, the Community Action of the Beeson Town Homes. Beeson Town, I believe it's Beeson Town Homes or Beeson Town Homes again. I have to look at it again to see what it is.
They didn't start anything, it's just the people.
Yeah.
They didn't pull it, empty lot there.
Yes.
It's just dump our power.
Yeah. So I'm going to have our guys reach out to Community Action, and I'm sure that maybe they don't even know that that's going on. So I'm sure that they will quickly take care of or make arrangements and to I'm personally going to touch base with that and see what's going on. Again, for me, I want to apologize too for you for putting up with that and having to come back up here all the time and talk about that. And then you get into where all of our neighborhoods really truly are, and trying to build more neighborhoods like they successfully did on your street in that area and try to grow on that. And also from our standpoint, from my standpoint, to also reach out and tell the members of the citizens, the residents, that, and especially, over in your area, to get this redevelopment and set this as a newer area, we're gonna have some bumps. I want to apologize. I don't live over there. I don't have to deal with that. And, you know, I'm sorry. And for what it's worth, I don't know if, you know, how that makes you feel, but truly I am that you have to put up with that. I know the tax burden just went through. We just raised taxes that hit all of us here at the table as well, except for two of us at the table. You don't have any property secret. No. So, again, seriously, I just, you know, please bear with us on this end too. And I'm going to reach out and try to make something happen on that end too. And, you know, reach out to me too if something's going on.
We said something about the grass.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
The older people, the guy did stop by and said they were going to cut the grass, maybe sometime later this week or next week.
Yeah.
Did you mention Columbia Gas is there now? They're the culprits?
Yeah, I talked to the worker.
So we probably should call them directly too.
You don't know, like the property owners may have an agreement that they don't know about, and I'm sure as soon as they, and I don't know if they have, but I'm sure as soon as that they find out that they're gonna try to rectify that. What the whole vision is to regrow the community, and you know, certainly I know that they don't want to start off on that foot right there. So again, thanks for coming in and addressing this. And
I worked construction before, before I retired, and I know we had to go through a lot. We make the people happy.
Yeah.
All they gotta do is
Yeah.
put tarps over top.
All they gotta do is
so
cover
the wind
it.
don't blow.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, put tarps over it. One day, that wind was blowing so hard when, well, that was a couple months ago, it blew in my granddaughter's eyes, and she had to like go in there and wash it out. That's how bad it was.
I seen it was vacant for a while. It was vacant for a while, but I did ride by the other day and see that they had paving equipment there too. So,
It's all moved out now. I'm gonna ask this.
okay.
Paving company moved out.
How many days ago was the paving company? It's been a few days. I haven't been out in the field. I've been in the office.
Yeah.
Thanks, Calvin.
Any other public comment this evening? If not, that's all I have.
So I wanted to touch base real quick on a few things. So we have a bunch of numbers get thrown around on what we bring in, but we rarely talk about the expenditures and what we actually are holding. And you know, we heard that yes, we did break the 1 million mark in the sewer, but I think it's also important that we're just hovering right around $1 million in expenditures. So what we have on that, and so which kind of leads me into this, like this is going to be something that we're going to have to talk about with sewer rates, because we're planning on doing this major infrastructure rehabilitation with the sewage. So, you know, we are already, halfway through the year, and we're only sitting about $222,000 in the sewage account. So I think that's moving forward. It's a good number to think about. Also, really big to make sure that we're saving in the beginning of the year because of our collections. So we're doing pretty good with the collections. We have control of those collections. So there is no more funny money, okay? The checks, and there is no more cash, except for the small areas now that we're tweaking, because we have put these heavy restrictions and guidance into this office to make sure it doesn't happen again. So again, just reach out. We had a little bit heavier month on the expenditures in the general, a little lower on the sewage this year, or this month. But going forward, please, we're getting closer to when we're going to have these negotiation talks on the budget, and I'm going to tell you it's getting tough. And I'm going to start talking about the tough decisions that we're going to have to make. People at the table aren't going to be willing and to really tell you that we're going to have to move that direction, but I'm going to tell you, the city had to get rid of departments the last time that they raised taxes, and we didn't. But I'm going to tell you again, if we're in that predicament at the end of the year, we are going to have to shave. And it's just what it is. I'm not willing to come back to the table at the end of the year because we can't control our spending, and we can't tighten it up and control where the loose ends are. We are going to have to shave. And that's where it's going to be. And I'm going to tell you right now, there ain't nobody going to be happy with that. And I'm going to be the only one that's going to sit here and tell you that's going to be what has to happen. We are looking pretty good, but we have to take control. And again, you have to have these tough conversations. Someone has to be the bad guy with it and tell you what's going on. That's fine with me. I got into this to do, just like a sign I said, with no hidden agendas. you know, I got into this my agenda for this was to make sure that the right things happen and we didn't push things under the rug, and that we move in the right direction that prospers the city. One thing I am disappointed in, actually, there's two things. I'm disappointed that we did not get we were able to get appointments on for other boards, but we can't get appointments on for the board that was tabled last month and was supposed to come back on the scene. And I don't want to touch base no more on that one. But, you know, yet we really have to be mindful of these resolutions that we're bringing across and how we're doing it. You know, I can sit here and talk all day long, and as soon as I leave, everybody else can talk about me. That's good.
It was nice that playground on Lincoln Street. I took my grandkids up there. The only problem is they still have that big dirt pile up there.
I seen that.
And the kids were throwing the rocks at the hill. Some of the kids were going to do the rocks there so they can mulch. So they need to get rid of that pile.
So that is where an area we can control now, because the redevelopment authority, so we can get them on that. And I'll have a talk with Crystal later about that as well.
Yeah, I mentioned it to her.
I just have one request. The city council will take a ride up Morgantown Street, look at that lot at the corner of Morgantown and Duncan Street. Every summer, the grass gets tall jointy before they come and cut it. Then there's a big pile of limbs and stuff, and then on that tree, cut it. They never cleared that out. The people that were bought that house and somebody's living out in the perimeters, somebody bought it, they cut their grass about 2 times a year. Corner of Morgantown and Duncan. I don't know if that's about it.
And then you see it getting into the call out or camper,
It's the empty lot.
I know it's
Has for sale sign, even the house. They remodeled the house.
That's all I have, Ms. Marshall.
Be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Uniontown, the council adjourned to meet Thursday, July 6th at 5 p.m. Mr. Billy?
Yes.
Mr. Vasaki?
Yes.
Mr. Winfrey?
Yes.
Mr. Shuhon?
Yes.
Mayor Gurke?
Yes. Thank you all for attending.
Okay, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Val.